Hello, everybody, and thank you for tuning in and listening to The Real Short Box. My name is Donald, and right to my right is Mr. Kevin, and just below is, as always, Darren. And in the middle there, we have Mr. Sean Leonard. Thanks for joining us, Sean.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, of course. And off in the corner, Mr. Christopher D. Turner. Thanks for coming back, as always, sir. Always appreciated. I'm going to pop away for 1 second.
Well, guys, do you believe in magic?
Ha! You thought I'd be gone long. I fooled you. Okay, so we are actually going to be talking about our top 10 magical characters. Now, this is a list that we've kind of all sort of worked on and threw some ideas out there and some characters and stuff. We do have some honorable mentions, of course, that we're going to go through. And it's a top 10, but it's not listed from like 10 to 9 to 8 to 7, and number 1 being the strongest character or whatever. These are legitimately tough calls. So they fall within the realm of 10, but that doesn't mean one is better than the other. It's really hard with magical characters to choose and to do that kind of thing, so I thought it'd be more fun just a free flow and talk about these characters when we feel like it. So we're going to do it that way. In the meantime, though, I'm going to have Kevin talk about that magical time when he was 8 years old and he discovered his penis.
Discovered what?
Go for it, Kevin.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Discovered what?
Oh,
8 years old?
Wait, you don't have one?
Apparently not. Whatever you're talking about. I missed what you said.
This is going to be a fun playback one there, Kevin.
They probably will be.
Can I talk about when I discovered Kevin's?
It had to have been at ArcLight, right?
It was.
At the movie theater.
You kind of cut out.
There was some popcorn. He cut out a hole in the bag. It was a bucket, right? It was a bucket. And that's when you discovered it.
So let's talk about the roots of magic.
Fair enough. I'm going to do some stuff in the background. You talk about the roots.
I don't know many of the roots of magic. I'll just throw out some names. Everyone from Aleister Crowley to David Copperfield. Hey, did any of you ever see Siegfried and Roy in Las Vegas?
No, I did not have the honor.
No.
All right.
Live, no.
What an awesome question I started off with. Sean's background sort of looks like the final set piece of Ready Player One. So that's like kind of cool, man. I see that Kevin, of course, has one of our favorite wizard or magicians in the background. We will not quite give away who that is, but if you don't know who this is at this point, probably not the podcast for you. And for some reason, Chris is in a transitional home with his background. It's kind of like New York City apartment, but totally kind of, it really reminds me of Jon Favreau's apartment in Swingers.
Oh, okay.
See, a lot of white walls. A lot. I watched that movie about a couple months ago. It's been such a long time. That's very funny stuff. Not that anyone cares. So we've got magic has been amusing people for generations. Everything from, magic shows at the Magic Castle, to various other things, to Do You Believe in Magic, that annoying McDonald's commercial. Chris, do you remember the first time you saw magic in either literature, television, or film?
Well, probably when I saw Labyrinth or Dark Crystal when I was a young kid.
So about 60 years ago.
Yeah, so long ago. It's probably the first time I really saw major. I'm sure there were cartoons that I watched. I'm sure Voltron and all those shows had magic, but I didn't really think about it as magic. But first time I was really okay, these are these magical creatures, and these are people have magic powers and stuff. Was Dark Crystal, Labyrinth, all that type of time period.
Which is really cool because, many people kind of view Jim Henson as a magician himself, bringing puppets to life.
That's true. That's very true.
On top of the fact that you, of course, have my boy Chamberlain repeatedly in the Dark Crystal going, mmm.
Yes. Yes.
That is good. Good. Sean, do you play any video games that involve magic?
Huh. I'm sure that I have. One of my favorite of all time actually is an NES game called Dragon Warrior. I bet you remember that.
No,
Yeah.
really. Sounds good.
Oh, it's classic. I can't think of anything that I play now that is a video game with magic, but I used to be all about that.
Was it Dragon Warrior or was it Dragon Lance? Was there another one called Dragon Lance?
There was a series called Dragonlance. Dragon Warrior was kind of like a over the head looking down as you kind of walk. It looked kind of a little bit like Legend of Zelda.
Uh-huh.
But more of a long-term RPG.
Okay. Gotcha.
And Kevin, what kind of magic do you use to get all those women to fall in love with you?
Apparently, it's dark magic.
Ah,
It's the dark side of the Force.
Well played. Well played, sir. Enrique says hello. Sammy says greetings. Maria says aloha. So, howdy to all of you. Thanks for joining. As far as magic is concerned and magical characters, magic has been around probably longer than religion. Or right up there with it as far as like its roots. Things that cannot be answered oftentimes is deemed as witchcraft or magical in nature. And our friends in Salem would love to talk about that, particularly the women, because a lot of them were burned. Yeah, not always a great thing, magic, in a lot of ways. You did have a lot of what they call snake oil salesmen that would come from town to town and have a magical miracle formula that you would, an ointment or a drink of some sort that's made out of sugar water and food coloring that could cure all your ails, things like that. So magic gets a bad rap in a lot of ways. But magic can also be very wonderful. And again, what Darren was referencing with like David Copperfield. Magic is a mystery and magic is a fantasy. It's escapism at its best. Penn and Teller do a very realistic version of magic where they kind of basically show you how stuff is done and then they undo it in a way that kind of blows your mind. So magic's all around and magic is wonderful. And characters that exude magic naturally would come forth in radio, television, and film, and that's what we have here. We're basically doing comic books / movies and television. We'll be talking about characters from all of these realms and why we think they deserve to be on a top 10 list. Now, we have a few honorable mentions. I'd like to get started with one that Mr. Sean Leonard, Sean, really quickly has written a book. Sean, can you, for like a moment, just talk about that real quick?
Oh, yeah. Actually, speaking of magic, it does have some magic in it. Sort of a supernatural horror, sort of a suburban dark fantasy. It's called Odd and Ed. It's a name, so it's O-D. It's about a brother and a sister that find this box underneath their house. They open it up, pushes the brother's soul out of his body, and the sister kind of has to figure out what to do.
Nice.
And it's available anywhere you get books at.
Anywhere you can get books at. Well, I found some books at a yard sale. Would it be available there?
Possibly. Maybe not yet.
Not yet? Okay. Give it a few years.
Like Target, Barnes & Noble, Costco, all those kinds of places?
Yeah, it's available on their websites at the moment. I have some. If people request it, it can be in the store. I don't know if it's physically in stores yet because I can see them being bought, but I don't know where they're going. That information is not available to me. So it's in some stores somewhere.
Okay. Hey, my great nephew is here watching with my mother. So everybody say hello to my great nephew Braxton and my mother and dad.
How you doing?
Hi guys.
Hey.
Hi Mom. Hi Braxton. Hey buddy. Hey Dad. Thanks for joining. always supportive. I appreciate that. So, Sean, since I asked you about the book and stuff, let's let you go ahead with something that you put forward as an idea for one of these characters, and I thought, wow, that's genius. That's really well done. And we're talking about a character from The Princess Bride, and this is an honorable mention.
Yeah, one of my favorite magical characters, definitely done in a different way, but Miracle Max, played by Billy Crystal. His whole shtick and everything is, you don't even know if, like, is he actually magic? But yes, he turns out to be a very helpful character, although he seems like he's not quite on the up and up. But
Right.
He's great.
What was it? A nice mutton and lettuce and tomato sandwich?
Oh, yeah. With the mutton is nice and lean. Yeah.
Yes.
Have fun storming the castle.
Yeah. Get back, witch. I'm not a witch, I'm your wife, and I don't even think I want to be that anymore. Yes, for those that have not seen The Princess Bride, it is sheer joy. It is the kind of fun in just feel good entertainment that people are getting now and talking about with Ted Lasso on Apple TV. That's the kind of feel that you get in a fantasy element with there he goes, with The Princess Bride. Beautiful book.
It was thought to be it was a novel before. It was thought to be unmakeable, but Reiner is a magician. Huh? See what I did there?
Yes.
And he brought it to life.
Yes. And for those of you that must know, The Princess Bride has also topped my list of really good films with absolutely horrible soundtracks. I'm telling you, if you really think about some of the music in there, it's like after school special stuff. No offense, but it's just true.
Right.
We might have words after this, Darren, but yeah.
You like that score? We will have words.
I do, actually. I understand what you're saying, because it has that kind of synth that pops you out. It can pop you out of the fantastical setting, but
right.
I think I've lived with it so long. It's just, I gotta love it.
What's that film with it had Rutger Hauer and Matthew Broderick? Ladyhawke.
Oh, Ladyhawke, yeah.
Nothing can be as bad as Ladyhawke when it comes to a soundtrack.
Yeah, that soundtrack is...
I'm going to check that out. I'm always looking to expand this list. Quality films with terrible soundtracks.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they rescored Ladyhawke, I think it would be great.
I think I could agree with that. I just couldn't get past the music. I just thought it was so bad.
Yeah.
We got a few comments here. Let's see. Jared says, "Our love is like a storybook story." He's singing it. Brody says, "Pam Grier, Something Wicked This Way Comes." I believe that also had the same dude from Golden Child, if I'm correct, or maybe I'm incorrect.
Charles Dance?
Am I wrong here?
Are you talking about Tywin Lannister?
Yes. Yeah. Wasn't he also in
The Golden Child?
Something Wicked This Way Comes?
Dance, right?
Wasn't he in Something Wicked This Way Comes?
I mean, I know he was in Alien 3 and he was in Godzilla King of the Monsters.
Kevin, you're the research king. Let me know.
Which one?
Something Wicked This Way Comes, if he was in that.
All right.
Because I can't remember
That's a
who
good
like the
movie.
main
I like that movie.
baddie is. Remember The Watcher in the Woods, too? Remember that?
Yeah, Watcher in the Woods. Have you seen all the different endings that were in that movie?
No, but I
They
would
shot
like
several
to.
different endings. It is fascinating, the story behind it and everything. I won't get into it because it's a whole thing, but
I didn't like it, like the original, so maybe I would like an alternative ending.
Let's see. Jonathan Pryce is in
it's
it.
bizarre.
It's
Oh, yeah.
Jonathan Pryce. Okay. All right. I should have known the size of the head.
The High Sparrow.
You think that would
in this
stick
case.
with you, when you get that size of a cranium going on. But alas, I forgot. Okay. All right, so that was one of our honorable mentions. Another one, which both Sean and I actually are very passionate about, and we're talking about Carolinus from Flight of Dragons. And Carolinus,
Yeah, the Green Wizard.
the Green Wizard from Flight of Dragons, not the most powerful man in the world because magic was being hurt, actually. magic was fading from the realm of fantasy due to the fact that mankind was actually kind of not believing in magic so much anymore. And that hurts. That hurts.
But
And
he did bring everybody together.
he did.
You know, so that yeah.
He did, and he the magic of milk actually really helped him. So
yeah, it's true.
you know, Flight of Dragons is actually from I think late 70s, early 80s. It was a made for television, if I recall, cartoon. That
Rankin and Bass.
yeah.
Rankin and Bass.
The animation on it is definitely of the time, but the story, if you can get with it, is really phenomenal. It's a really cool story, and I would really like to see it remade, maybe even live action. I think it would be really cool.
That would be really cool.
Yeah,
if
I
they
could
could
get
get
behind
that done. It would be expensive, but that would be really sweet.
If we're talking about magical milk, though, it's kind of unfortunate that we kind of excluded the troll from Ernest Scared Stupid and the magical Australian Miak.
Right, Miak.
Greatest ever.
I'll tell you what, that movie is still frightening to this day. When I watch it, I still get scared because that was a scary kids movie.
Yes.
Like, it really was. Like, he's taking these children and turning them into little wooden carvings and putting them under a tree and, like, becoming more powerful and growing more tentacles, and his nose is getting bigger and snottier, and it's just, oh, no thank you. It was gross.
But it's Ernest at his best.
It was pretty great. It was pretty great. Okay, so Coriolanus, great character. No, John C. Reilly's character from Boogie Nights was not on the list.
Ha!
Even if he was a magician, he did not make the list, sadly. I'm sorry, buddy.
Although it was tuned for Magic Mike.
Right. We do have a couple characters from Boogie Nights that made the list, though, so that's not John C. Reilly, so you might appreciate that. Definitely. There was some magic going on in that film, I'll tell you. Number 12 that we did, which is just like a number that we put out there like as an honorable mention. So another honorable mention that I would like to bring up, Brother Voodoo. Now, not a lot of people know Brother Voodoo, but Brother Voodoo is basically, he was for a time Sorcerer Supreme. He took over for Doctor Strange. He has voodoo magic. He works in the dark arts, so to speak. A very cool character with a lot of power. He's actually currently in the Savage Avengers, which teams Venom, the Punisher, Brother Voodoo, along with Conan the Barbarian as well. And if I recall, I want to say it was Elektra, but I'm not 100% on that one. But just a very fascinating team of characters to form an Avengers-like team. I don't understand it. I don't know why it was taking place, but you know what?
Is this their response to have like a Justice League Dark in a way?
Probably in kind of a way, I guess, but with their popular characters, because their dark characters, for instance, Man-Thing just doesn't bring in the sales. People don't care. You know, if you say Swamp Thing, then people are like, what? Swamp Thing? Man-Thing? No one... just doesn't work. It's unfortunate.
Unless it's a giant-sized man.
Yes. Yes, that could be possible, the giant-sized Man-Thing. We almost lost Chris, but I think he's back. Yeah, so Brother Voodoo was another one. And Kevin, we had another one. I think it's our last one on our honorable mentions that made the list. What was this one? It was one that you were really pulling for. It was a Game of Thrones character, if I recall.
Oh, you're talking about Melisandre?
That's it, Melisandre, yes. Let me pull up a picture of her because it'll be worth it for those that don't know.
She's an interesting choice because she is incredibly powerful, but doesn't realize how powerful she is. She really uses her magic and uses it wrong. Like, she always has these visions and reads them completely the wrong way.
Right, and got people killed for no reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if it happens in the book. It doesn't really happen in the show, but in the book, like she 100% gets visions of Johnson being like,
The princess promised.
and she totally like just goes right over her head. She has no clue because she doesn't know how to read her visions correctly. She gets single-minded and so she looks for the clues for that.
Was
And
she
so
a
she doesn't-
villain or an unsung like hero, a misunderstood hero, or was she a straight up villain?
She's not a villain. I think she is. I mean,
A great character.
she ends up helping the hero at the end. I think that she's a gray character. Like almost every character in Game of Thrones is gray. But like I think she's like
Yeah.
right in the middle. Like she does bad things, but she also saves the hero. So for that,
Well, yeah, that's a good point.
Although what she does convinces Stannis to do is pretty unforgivable.
but the
Oh,
only,
season
Yeah.
5, yeah.
as far as we
In
know,
the book, I know that hasn't happened yet. I know Stannis is still alive in the book at the moment.
Yeah. Marique says, let's see here. She says, would Tim Curry from The Worst be awesome? Actually, the worst bitch. So
An old
I'm having some technical